is your first time, um, thank you for stopping by. All right, I'm the brain behind this platform. This is a segment called Say It Like It Is, where people send me their stories to my email address, and if they resonate with me, I convert it to a live stream like this one, uh, or pre-recorded content. So the premise of this is so that we in the Black community can learn from this one step at a time. Okay. So welcome to the show. Let's see who is online. If you can hear me, you can see me. Smash the like button. Give us the thumb up button. Hi, Dick Boy. I'm fine. I did like did. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. What's going on, people? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Smash the like button. DJ Smooth, Umar. So if you can, Boris, if you can hear me, you can see me. Brittany Hinton, right? If you can hear me, you can see me. Please smash the like button so we can gain traction, all right? If you haven't subscribed, give consideration to doing so. Smash the bell button and select the all option so you're notified, okay? So, Ndolo, what's up, sister? Right. So, today's topic, talking about African diasporans suffering from misalignment of destinies, right? Somebody said, oh, I saw Phrankleen in my dream 2 days ago. Stop dreaming about me, man. Phrankleen, you don't watch football. I'm not really a football person, man. Hi, Pauline. So anyways, these topic was inspired by a couple of things in the last few days, okay? For those of you that don't know, I have a service where I'm helping a bunch of people. If you're interested, I'm a practitioner of Ifa. So people come to me for Ifa divination. I am not an Ifa priest. I'm a proud practitioner of Ifa. And I take it to Ifa, genuine, reliable Ifa priest. Whatever pressing questions you've got about your life, people ask me those questions once they've paid, and I take it on and stuff. Now, what these process has allowed me to do is, of course, it's provided me with a fresh data, snippets into individuals that I don't know in person, I've never met, but it's built up these database of somebody said, please post your email address. If you look in the description of area of this video, if you're watching on YouTube, you should be, you find my email address, foodchannel1960@gmail.com. I can't type because I'm streaming from my phone. Now, foodchannel1960@gmail.com. So I've been looking at tons and tons of individuals that have been coming to me with, Phrankleen, I'd like divination on this. By the way, bear with me if you're waiting. I didn't expect the bombardment. There's tons and tons of requests for divination. So they've been dealt with in batches. But this week, unfailingly, a lot of you will get the responses, your outcomes of your divination and stuff. So please bear with me, okay? There are tons of people that have sent me information. And also, if you are interested in Akosejaye, so that's like a new one. If you're interested in, this is a very extensive divination that uncovers who you are, basically what you are sent to this life to do, your do's and don'ts, even career-wise, your spiritual alignment. You want basically a breakdown of everything. So you can contact me for that. It's part of Ifa divination. Usually it's done for babies within 40 days of being born into this planet, but my Ifa priest can get it done for adults if you're interested. So moving along. So these process has allowed me to gain so much insight, and then it triggered my thought process, because there are plenty of diasporans They've lived in the West for so many years. And there is something that keeps catching my attention, and it's this lack of fulfillment. Lack of fulfillment. Frankly, a lot of diasporans get depressed because they've spent 20 years abroad and still renting. Why is home ownership linked to fulfillment, please? We'll talk about that, mortgage shake, all right? We'll talk about that in a moment. I'll address that. And something that sticks out is these lack of fulfillment, chaotic life, lack of direction. And I'm not even joking. These are persons who have lived abroad 15 years, 20 years. There's one, 31 years in the UK, the US. It could be problems that emanated from what would appear to be like the wrong partners, wrong, how do you say, is it partnership, selection, and things like that. Now, I've had so many, so many, so many, and I understand, regardless of being a diasporan, this it's not limited to being a diasporan, right? This affects humanity, but I'm looking at it from the diasporan point of view, and I'm telling you, tons and tons and tons, and there is this, substantive evidence of misalignment that people come here. You leave the shores of the motherland, Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, Tanzania, the list goes on, right? And after so many years of being absorbed into the Western system, there's still that lack of fulfillment. There are plenty of our people, particularly, whilst there are some who can say they've done X, Y, Z for themselves, and you can say, oh, they are doing well. In fact, there is a huge amount of our folks who are trapped at the bottom end of the spectrum, who are struggling, financially, who are not doing well, who they're dealing with so much. Now, I keep looking at this data, I keep looking at these through this divination service that I'm providing. And then there was a particular email from like three sets of there was two gentlemen, and then there was another woman when we were exchanging about this divination, and some of them got the outcomes of their divination, and then they were asking questions, so there was a guy, the Ifa priest gave him a detailed outcome of his divination request. So he came back with, he has to do X, Y, Z, or because of this, and choices that he's made about life and all that stuff. So we had an email exchange, and the guy said he feels this heavy sense of misalignment with exactly who the universe would want him to be. That keyword, misalignment, stuck out for me. So that basically I was able to coin this title from that. Now, here's what I think. I want this to be interactive. Unfortunately, or let me say fortunately, whatever, I'm streaming from my mobile phone, and I'd have opened a channel for people to call in. But there is a huge, and the reason I'm addressing this is not something that's been discussed in our community. Thankfully, we have a digital platform like YouTube that brings plenty of eyeballs and eardrums together, a lot of us together, we can interact. But this is something that's not been discussed. And I worry, and it makes me think. Hi, Taiwo Yelade. There are plenty of folks in our community that are dealing with this. But people just get on with everyday life. Do you understand? Most of us in the diaspora have the pieces of missing culture and history that's removed and demonized the continent today. The West is depressing. A lot of people are depressed. I get that. The West is not designed for black folks. At the end of the day, there is no place like home. Wherever you find peace and rest is home. You know, people say that. Oh yeah, I've heard people say that over time. Oh, wherever you find yourself is home. There's no place like home. Some black folks would say, oh, wherever you find yourself. Basically, if you're settled in the UK or you're settled in the US, you've a bunch of kids, you're married or whatever, you've spent, donkey years and you're settled there, that's home now. There's a part of me that agrees with that, but I also think it's a careless statement. And deep down inside, there's always a smoke screen around that particular statement. Usually, except you have an absolute disdain, and I'd want to ask for the continent where you emanated from. Of course, when people are settled somewhere and stuff, and that's where now, or let's say you were born and that's the environment you grew up in. So you might, of course, say, this is home, but you cannot sweep under the carpet your true identity, who you are, where you came from. Do you understand? Home ownership might not necessarily bring desired fulfillment, but it's better to be paying one's mortgage than paying someone else in the name of renting. So here is the thing. So I wanted first of all, address what's the driving force that has brought so many of us to the West, that keeps bringing plenty of us to the West, because regardless of how we try to shape in this or how to present this, there is a driving force. And regardless of how people try to twist the narrative, a bunch of us are in the West, and what runs concurrently with our everyday life in the West is we are strengthening the GDPs of the whatever countries you find yourself in the West. Whether you are being appreciated for strengthening and contributing positively into those systems is another conversation. People say financial security is mostly the driving force. Somebody said the illusion of greener pastures. The driving force is simply better life. Yeah. Better life is subjective. But the truth is, the case of better life is not the case for plenty, and I mean plenty of black folks. Fact. Living in the diaspora. Yes, the definition of better life is actually subjective. For example, in the Nigerian environment, if you go in Nigeria, a lot of, particularly women, when they put pressure on their partners and they say, oh yeah, let's go to the UK, let's go to the US, because of the future of the children, because of the children's future. I've said this before. When you listen to that, there's nothing wrong with that. On paper, like, a parent would want, would want a better life for their children and stuff. But along the line, you pay a hefty price in doing so, getting absorbed. Sadly, a lot of black folks, particularly those ones that come from Africa, that maybe they came out of poverty, like abject poverty, they didn't even have basic amenities. So they are the ones that usually come here and play, they're gatekeepers. When you have conversation, you're socializing with them, they talk about, oh yeah, this country, that country is the best in the world, at the detriment of Africa. They are the ones to champion those conversations, to tear Africa to shreds and talk about security and all that stuff. I am thoroughly aware that not all, but some African countries, some parts of Africa might have their own challenges that push people out and all these things. Now, but why do we have a huge poverty in the West is better than poverty in Africa? Let me block this guy, man. You know, I keep telling you, my platform is not for fish brains, you know? It's not. It's not for you to have a mega speaker to attach to your mouth or your fingers to disseminate nonsense. We want grown-up contributions. You know, when a man, a human being has to type poverty in the West is better than poverty in Africa, that statement alone tells me that you've absolutely lost your goddamn mind. You are a completely toxic human being that people should really avoid like a plague. Poverty generally is not a good thing. Come and speak to people in the West that are trapped in poverty. There are parents as we speak. There are homes as we speak that, you know, bang in the middle of winter, people can't even keep their homes warm. There are people with children that they don't even know what the children will have for breakfast tomorrow morning. There are plenty. You don't have an idea. Imagine somebody saying poverty in the West is better than poverty in Africa. That's a moronic thing to say, man. You understand me? Do you get? This is exactly what I was building up to. One of the fundamental problems, that's the problems we have. We have a lot of black folks with absolutely destroyed mindset. Do you understand me? Yeah, I've just blocked the account, man. You can create 1,001 accounts. You will get the sledgehammer on your head. Go and look at people here in the UK. Go and look at the living standards. In fact, I bring it back. There are plenty of diasporans. Okay, so I have so many people that send me emails. So the other day when we're talking about this owning lands and all that stuff, and this guy was like, Phrankleen, I can barely save £250. You understand me? Said, I can barely save 250, £300 in a month. And do you understand what I'm saying? Do you understand what I'm saying? Keep coming, that individual. Keep coming. You keep on getting blocked. You don't understand. My brain, my brain is really, really fortified. I am not the guy that you can play with. I am very, very. My stubbornness is on steroids. So if you think you can troll me or waste time, man, you're wasting your time. You don't have an idea who you're dealing with. Just imagine you're a fly and I have a spatula. You keep getting smacked down. You understand me? No, don't worry. Yeah, thank you, Taiwo. These are some of them are foot soldiers for the oppressors. You know, they like to be disruptive. This person, I've been looking at the username for the past few days. They come on here to drop nonsense because anything that would emancipate the black mind, they don't like it. So they've got to come here and type nonsense. You know, it's only a moron that would say poverty in the West is better than poverty in Africa. Just imagine. I've always said this, the way people live, the lifestyle in the West, a lot of things are concealed from view because of the culture. You can bump into somebody on the road, they look fresh, they are wearing a nice jacket, they probably have a Ralph Lauren shirt on, and they don't even have £500 in savings. You understand? Like, they are proper struggling. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, But here's the thing, so I don't lose a train of my thought. Here is the thing. I was talking about what was the driving force. People said illusion of greener pastures. People say, oh yeah, I want to go find security and all that stuff. The issues are multi-layered. Some people, everyone's got reasons. You were probably, thank you, we look good but feel empty. You were probably young, your parents went ahead of you, they filed for you, they brought you abroad. Everyone's got multiple, reasons why they've gone abroad. But you see, my practice of Ifa, which has enabled my spiritual growth, you understand? Which has enabled my spiritual growth. My practice of Ifa, which has enabled my spiritual growth, has actually allowed me to see life differently. Has helped fine-tune my knowledge, the way I see life. When you are activated spiritually, it enables you to see things differently. So you see, I keep banging on about it. That's something I'm going to carry on talking about to help emancipate quite a lot of our folks. I'm at a point in my life when I found African spirituality, when I adopted, embraced African spirituality, I got fully initiated into Ifa. I'm a proud practitioner and all that. Going into divinations and living a lifestyle as an Ifa practitioner and then delving deep, opened my eyes, activated my third eye, and you realize that so many decisions that we take, you follow your feelings, your heart, you make decisions that when energies get activated in the universe and all that, it might not be the right one, the ideal one for your pathway in life. Sometimes most of the calamities, the cobwebs, and the truckload of issues that we deal with, if you look at them, they can be traced back to maybe decisions we've made that don't align with our Ori, or some of the problems emanated, spiritually from where you came from. Their root cause from within family, branches and people that gave birth to you, families and people with dark energies that are trying to distort your course in life or suppress you. The point I'm trying to make is, through my practice of Ifa, delving into spirituality, and using the word alignment, it made me realize that there is more to human existence. There is more to life than just waking up, blindly making choices. Oh, because everybody's jumping on the plane to go to England, I better find a visa. Let me go try. Everybody's going to the US. I better go. If 1,000 of us jump on the plane from Lagos, Nigeria, and we come to the UK, there will be a handful, there will be some that will make a headway in England. They will do well. Do you understand? They will do well. The rest, you probably shouldn't have left the shores of Africa. And that's when you get into an environment. Remember, blindly, you get absorbed into that system. In fact, because of the way the system is, the system tends to dictate, for the most part, for a lot of people, because of the way it's designed, it puts pressure on you. The pressure to make money, the pressure to pay bills, the pressure to mandatorily put bread on the table for your family. So it kind of forces your hands. And you have to take whatever you can find. Societal mental conditioning will call that, oh, That's a hardworking man. That's a hardworking woman. Orí mi má jẹ́ kí n kú sórí mo ṣe ṣe ṣe. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi má jẹ́ kí n kú sórí mo jìyà mo jìyà. If life was just based on hard work and grinding and working 16, 17 hours a day, people that work those lengthy hours should be multi-millionaires, stinkingly rich. You see, quietly, please reason with me, quietly, in a very, very dangerous and more than likely life-shattering decisions, quietly, a lot of Black lives are actually being destroyed based on their own choices. I'm not even talking about oppression or discrimination and all that. Because, take for example, there was a gentleman. He sent me his divination details. Actually, he's worked in IT for many years. He's 49-year-old. This year, August 22nd, he's going to turn 50. He has a lot of cobwebs in his life. Just relationship issues, is separated, career-wise, is in debt. He's very brainy, very educated. He listed his qualifications. So the Ifa divination came back. And it turned out that he shouldn't even have been in England. And he's what, 49. He came here at the age of what, 24 or 25. He's been here for a while. And the diviner, the Ifa priest, went on to say that you shouldn't have, the woman that you married, that you had a bunch of kids with, like they say in Yoruba, the woman that he should have actually married, that the universe designed for him as his wife, he had come across her when he was in his very early 20s. They were just like friends, right? But of course, they drifted apart. His own parents forced him on the plane, go to England, and he came here. He's got a mountain of every professional qualifications. And you would think, well, he's told me, he said, Phrankleen, I can't hold a job for too long. Even if I do, there's always issues that take my monies. My life is just like this, like this, like this. That's just one person out of numerous. Do you understand? Okay, some people, unfortunately, they are old now, or they are in the evening part of their life. You're in your 50s already. Some are almost 60. Some are in their late 40s, you know. You have not even enjoyed one day of fulfillment on this planet. And please, don't confuse fulfillment with, I went to university, I've got a degree. There are plenty of people, you can get degrees for £5 for £10. There are plenty of people with degrees, even far more educated than me. If it was just about qualifications, I'm sure there are plenty of smart people watching me, like Wonkawi, degrees, professional qualifications, especially Nigerians. There's that course, this. Oh, there is that one, boom. There is that one, boom. Oh, it's Oracle, boom. It's SQL, boom, boom, boom. It's project management, boom, boom. It's business analysis, boom, boom, boom. They are there. But at the end of the day, there's always something. Do you know the number of divination outcomes that I have seen? I saw through the course of last week up until like the weekend just gone, whereby the direction, like there's a particular woman's story that, man, very complex, has 4 children, This man walked out of her life. She said the whole thing, she just couldn't place a hand on it. The man walked out. She's stuck with her 4 children alone, struggling. Good evening, my future Ifa priest. Good evening, buddy boy. Now, she's struggling, but so she paid to do divination for herself and her 4 children. And Ifa said, that man, she shouldn't have married that man. In fact, interestingly, the Ifa priest went on to say she was told years back when she was a lot younger that there is something about the union with that guy, that the future was going to end up catastrophically, but she disregarded it. Because at the time when they met in Nigeria, he was flaunting the fact that he was traveling abroad, so she attached herself, said, I'm going to go with the guy, going abroad, da-da-da-da-da-da. The other guy that she was dating at the time didn't have much going on compared with this guy at the time. That guy, because she gave me the guy's name, that ask Ifa priests to check these other guys' name. That guy was the guy that the universe paired her with. She left him because at the time she looked at it like, this guy is going to the UK. I'll be stupid not to follow him. She picked the wrong guy, and she said she has had to put up with domestic violence because of shame, not knowing where. She said, Phrankleen, this man will beat me blue-black. She basically couldn't make anything tangible. She's 42. She'll be 43 next week. She has 4 children. He's walked out of the marriage. He's met a brand new young Jamaican lady. He's gotten her pregnant, and he's moved in with that man. Do you think you have looked, if that woman had looked into a spiritual alignment, what is it? What is a universal data set? What is it that your Ori is aligned to? Who is it? What are the choices in life? This is what I'm talking about, Akosejai. When you look into your predestination, it's like a cheat code. You have a roadmap. So I'm taking it back to whilst everybody, a bunch of us, and I get it, I'm not castigating anybody. Please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. I understand. I thoroughly understand. I live in the West. I'm in Nigeria, and I understand. But everybody and their mama, everybody comes abroad, US, Germany, wherever you find yourself in the West, we are everywhere. UK, Holland, Finland, Australia, we are everywhere. Some live in China. There is a guy. He is in Nigeria. He is in Nigeria, right? He is contemplating on traveling abroad. He's a young guy. He wants to travel out. So he paid for me for the divination. And I love his report. He said, Phrankleen, I'm considering UK, US, and Canada. I'm doing bit by bit in agriculture back home, but I want to go find better opportunities and stuff. Like I say, if you hear that, if you were sat in front of this gentleman, there's nothing wrong with that. He can find 20 justifications why he wants to leave Nigeria and travel abroad. He's in his late 20s. He has saved substantive amount of money that he made from, agricultural business. He wants to leave. But he said, can you help me check? Now, cut the long story short. Ifa said, out of the 3 countries, he can travel to the US. But guess what? Ifa said, if you travel to the US, you have a window of maximum of 5 years to be in the US. Take whatever you can take, bring it back to Africa, because Africa is really where you will blossom. That was his divination outcome. Now, that guy can go to the US and say, no, man, I don't want to live in the US for 5 years and have to return to Nigeria. I want to carry on living. I want to settle here. Like I always say, you cannot defeat the universe. What you can do with the universe is you can align with the universe. You can define, you can align with exactly what your template of existence in this universe says. The blueprint of my existence in this universe. I know it now. It has nothing to do with the guy next door. That's why you don't look at someone now, oh, such and such is now selling building materials. He set up that business. He's just supplying bags of cement. He's supplying granite. He's supplying sharp sand. Oh, I can do the same. I've got a bit of money saved. I can sell bags of cement. If I try to copy that, don't be surprised if I come down crashing. Am I spiritually aligned with that? There are plenty of people. Oh, because such and such has gone to Germany, because this has gone to the US, because that has gone to the US. You want to keep up with the Joneses. And this has been the case with plenty of Africans, millions of us. Trust me. Trust me. There is a video that I'm going to react to later on this week where somebody left their well-paid 7-figure job in Nigeria. They are here in the UK. These things rattle me. Let's have logical conversations. These guys are working in a factory and they're telling me the beautiful thing about the UK is, it gives you the opportunity to build. Like, dude, you had a 7-figure job. You were doing well with benefits. Why? You didn't lack anything in Nigeria. So you then came to take a factory job where you are sorting goods and working 16, 17 hours. Have you noticed how black folks particularly, we like to explain away about how we like to normalize the sufferings that come with living in the West. Have you noticed, or am I the only person saying this? Have you noticed how black people try to, they want to condition you so that you accept that toxicity? Like they normalize it, that, oh yeah, this has got to be our reality. I see it all the time. There's a guy. He had a good job in Nigeria. He was working for like an oil and gas company. He was earning, he said, just short of 6 million naira a month. The wife kept talking about, so we can go create a future for our children. What future? What future? I'm sorry. What future are you trying? You had a roughly 6 million naira job a month. They left it. And I think they moved to, Canada. Right now in Canada, he's an Uber driver. Now, this is not a disrespect to anybody who's actually an Uber driver. If it's a honest living, there's nothing to be ashamed of. But think about it. You call that fulfillment? Ifa is quite predictable. Would never advise you to move out of Africa. Bro, man, I just block you straight. You understand? Again, let me help you. If you want to talk, engage me with sensibility. You're not a practitioner of Ifa. You exist outside the confines of it. So to stay outside the confines of something and run your mouth like a tap, it just shows you as being utterly silly. Okay? If you've been listening, did you hear what I said? There are people who have done divination, right? Who, in fact, there's a guy who bought farmland in Nigeria, acres of land. He's planning to move back to go into farming. Ifa said, don't take your family back to Nigeria. There in England lies your blessing. He said, if you go back into that farm to go and face that farming business, you will end up in penury. Agriculture is not for you. You understand? And the problem with some of these people is, again, it's a problem that's quite common with black folks. And that's exactly what we are talking about. You cannot outdo the universe with your tiny little sixth sense. Because some people, when I give them the outcome of their divination, they get angry. Because you know why? Their minds are fixated. Because they want to be told what they want to hear. The truth is a bitter pill to swallow. Do you understand me? Spirituality is not, it's not a joke. You may be fixated on something, and if something is in your calling, you can like a woman for reasons best known to you. And the universe says that pairing wouldn't work. Somebody says your audio. Can you hear me? What's wrong with my audio? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Just give me a thumb up if you can hear me. Can you hear me, please? All right, cool. Thank you. Mate, if you can't hear me, come out of the video and then come back in. It might, if you're watching me on your phone, maybe that's why. Okay. Again, I say this is not trying to force anything down anybody's lungs, but I think in terms of human existence, one of the best choices we can ever make in life is for you to be fulfilled as a human being, is to make the right choices. One of the things I talk about is partnership, compatibility checks. Do that. Thank you, Pauline. You can never struggle if you are living your destined life. This is the message. Thank you, Pauline. Thank you. You're a star. You see, if you want to get argumentative with me, I think deep down inside, you have a problem. Look, for example, I'm talking hypothetically. If the universe wires you, say, you have to be someone that works as a florist, or like somebody like has to build houses and all that. There's nothing you can do about it. Go into that field and you will flourish. Get knowledge. You will flourish. Maybe you're meant to be into helping people to build homes, build properties, for example, and then like project management, construction project management, and things like that. And then you've gone into the area of selling clothing, shoes, and bags because that's you love it. You are never going to enjoy fulfillment. In fact, there will be calamity, losses, and just a roller coaster of ups and downs, man. Rashida Kikpelu, we'll get in touch with you, Rashid. If it's about divination, we'll get in touch with you. This week, okay? Unfailingly. What if you are already married? Would you have to go back and marry another? If Ifa says you married the wrong person. Thank you, DJ Smooth. Do you know what's interesting? I want to go back to the topic of us as diasporans. It happens. Like someone's having issues with their partner and they ask me to check. And if I told them there's no compatibility, they already have 3 children. You see, now I understand because you've lived life up to a point. That's up to you. But don't forget, nobody's being forced. But don't forget, if you carry on in the wrong direction and you are hoping that things are going to magically turn around, that's a big fat lie. Does that make sense? In fact, another interesting point is there are plenty of people where divination outcomes will come back and they'll be told stuff like, you've already know this, or you know this deep down inside, or maybe you've been told before, but it's because it's human nature. Okay, let's call a spade a spade. How many Nigerians tonight are you going to stamp a US visa? Gist TV, just send me an email, foodchannel1960@gmail.com. Email address is in the description of this video. Like, how many Nigerians or how many Africans you're going to take their passport and you stamp a US visa, right? And then, if a divination comes, days after they have the US visa on their passport, they're already thinking, oh, I'm going to the US, I'm going to New York City. Yeah. And then divination says, your success and prosperity in life lies in Nigeria. They're going to be like, hell no. No way. There is a woman who dealing with major calamity in the US. Guess what? She told me, hand on my heart, no word of lie. She replied my email and said, Phrankleen, do you know that before I traveled to the US some 12 years ago, I was told that I can only go to the US like on holiday, on vacation, but it's not a place for me to live permanently. Said Phrankleen, I ignored it because I thought they were crazy, and I found every hook or crook means to get out of Nigeria and travel. 12 years of calamity. Do you understand? I used to love politics, but I found out it wasn't my calling. From that day forward, I stopped involving myself in anything politics. Thank you, Johnson. Do you know how many of us that jump on the plane, whatever, maybe boat or whatever, and people just go? Plenty of black destinies are being suppressed. Do you know what's interesting? If you're working as an Uber driver, if you're working as a toilet cleaner, if you're working as a security guard, whatever job you're doing in the West, sorry, check this out. Who cares in the West? Who is looking out for your so-called personal fulfillment? The system is taking their taxes from you. If you like, you can die in England. Nobody really gives a stuff. There's a gentleman. He's 61 this year. Agbalagba, 61. 9 years away from turning 70. Said, Phrankleen, I don't know where the time went. Said, but I'm grown enough to admit that I feel like I've been robbed of my prime based on my own decisions. And I've just lived in this country. It's like there's nothing to show for it. There are some people, they might excel in the area of employment, maybe because of whatever educational background they're into, IT or whatever, but they're making good money on a monthly basis. There are some people, they're making good paychecks. They live in good parts of the country. They drive nice cars. They don't really struggle to pay bills, but the rest of their lives is calamitous. The rest of their life is calamitous. Relationship wise, it could be, the woman that they get involved with, they just would never have peace of mind. So you know them as well. Oh, he works for such and such company. He has a good job. But on the other hand, his life is chaotic. He has multiple children. He has the involvement with his wife. They're tearing him apart. Trust me, man. There are too many of our people with zero fulfillment in the West. There's something fundamentally wrong. And Think about it. If you have a bunch of people trapped in a totally wrong area, jurisdiction, lifestyle, in this medium that they shouldn't be in, what do you think is going to think about? Look at the wider picture. What's going to happen to the bloodline of those people if you are struggling to achieve fulfillment? You can barely stay afloat. You're just wading through the waters of life. How can you pass on a good quality of life to your offsprings, your children? Thank you. Voluntary slavery. I love that statement, or that phrase, voluntary slavery. Of course. How can you give a good quality of life to your offsprings? You can't. You cannot give what you don't have. How can you talk about fulfillment to your own children? How can you ensure that they are fulfilled? The universe, thank you, Pauline, the universe will back you up if you align. There are too many of us, man. Everybody and their mama. There are even some families. Every one of them will leave Nigeria. I know people that I grew up with. All 5 siblings, everybody is in the United States. Their mom, their dad's brother, mom's brother, everybody's in America. And they're just basic. They just so some black folks, let me tell you, especially the older ones, the older generation, the slightly older ones, yeah? The only reason they're in the UK, I'm telling you now, maybe some of them already have health problems. They're diabetic and all that. Every 2 weeks, they get their medication supplies from their local pharmacy, right? Some, maybe, they need dialysis and things like that. If you remove that, there's nothing else that they're living for. There's nothing to show. There are some, very small percentage of the black community, like I said, that have made headway. But I look at the volume. There's plenty, man. In fact, look at the systems that we live in. As Ifa confirmed that UK is where you should be, why not Nigeria? Enigmatic. I cannot discuss my personal life with you. There's nothing like honest question. You expect me, I don't even know who you are. You expect me to discuss the outcomes of my personal divination with you on YouTube. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. If I know you in person, I may be able to tell you 1 or 2 things. If I know they are harmless, you don't do that, man. That's why you see me when I refer to divinations, I don't name the persons. Some of the people that have contacted me for divinations are even online. You don't expect me to do that. Where the direction I'm taking my personal life, whatever choices and decisions, they are personal to me. But I can assure you 100%, I am not a hypocrite. You understand? In fact, if you wanted to do that on the timeline, I'll cut you off. There are some things you must not say. There are people that are harmless that would listen to you and they'll just listen and ignore you. There are forces, and if you're not fortified, if you drop information that are sensitive to your Ori, I'm talking spiritually now, if you drop it and just make it public and you're not properly fortified, dude, they will run you to the ground because the negative forces around, what they are there for is to ensure that you don't do well in this dispensation. Do you understand me? So, you see, and also to add to that, like plenty of other people, I'm also a human being like you, that I'm moving through this planet. And sometimes you make decisions, oh, this is the best decision for me. You're living life, you think you know it all. And then along the line, I found African spirituality and my eyes opened. And you're like, oh, I wish I had known this 10 years ago. I wish I had done this 7 years ago. That's right. Because told you about Allah, then you would understand. Humanity is by default just existed. Only the 5% richest of every nation enjoy life by renting out land to the remaining 95. The wealthiest 5% just rob the remaining 95% via land. Now, I get that. But you can't even measure fulfillment in that regard. Do you know how many Africans that... How do I get an IFA, not designations, divination with no compromise? Send me an email. GD, send me an email. Now, we are all spiritual beings. Pauline, you're on fire tonight. Of course we are. So when I got to the point when I got, illuminated and emancipated, exactly what Pauline is written, then you'd know that we are not just a pile of bones covered in flesh. We are spiritual beings. We are not. You understand? No, don't wonder. I've answered you enigmatic. Don't wonder. You see, don't wonder why I'm not in Nigeria. You don't know. You might wake up tomorrow and find me in Nigeria. Again, you're going back to what I already said to address you. Don't worry about my pathway in life. I can talk about, the goodness and greatness of Africa. Doesn't mean because I'm in the UK. But in terms of my personal journey, where I'm taking my Ori is taking me to in this dispensation. You don't know. That's not your business. But as things unfold, you will find out. You can watch me for like 3 years on my channel and you know that, oh, Frankleen's based in the UK. You can wake up tomorrow morning and then you find me in Lagos, Nigeria. And I'm there permanently now. And he's really, Franklin is in Ghana now. Oh, wow. He's moved back to the continent. But you don't expect me to give you a blueprint of my life. Never. Come on, bro. So and the whole idea of because I live in the UK, I shouldn't talk about life in Nigeria. That's absurd. That's absurd, man. There's no rule in law that stops me from doing so. My job is to emancipate my people. You understand me? You get all this very weak thing. People come and say, yeah, you're saying all this. Oh, yeah, why are you living in England? I look at them and laugh. You don't know what my plans are. Just stay tuned, okay? In the not so distant future, you see some things unfold. So yeah, you're done for it. You expose yourself to wrong energy. Don't expose yourself, man. There are wicked people, wicked spirits. Some of them are on here. They're disruptors. They're evil. They're people with toxic energies. They just they're evil people. So let me drop this into your spirit. I talk about all this Ifa and emancipating my people, trying to get your mind illuminated. Oh, you think I don't get attacked? Both technically, and you think they don't try me spiritually? You don't have a clue, man. DBA TV, you're yet to respond to my email. What email was that, bro? Do me a favor, bro. If I haven't, go into your sent folder, forward the email to me right now. Okay? After the show, I'll have a look. People in the diaspora look down on me for living in Nigeria. I whip for them. JR, my brother, man. Don't listen to them, man. Don't listen to them. Sometimes when diasporans look down, like you said, on people that are living back home, let me tell you, man, there is a sense of jealousy. Sometimes when people want what you have, and they know that for whatever reasons. They can't have it, or they can't get what you have. Resentment kicks in, and they are governed by that toxic energy, and then they try to put you down. And so there are people, when we're talking about, oh, you're going to Nigeria, or people are moving back to the continent, just so that they can justify their toxicity and their very evil mindset. They would hope that something bad happens to you. So they wake up tomorrow morning and they hear that such and such got kidnapped. Oh, there you go. You shouldn't have left. You should have stayed in England with the rest of us. There are some people, truth be told, there are some Africans that the universe wants them to remain in the US. If you look at the wider picture, it might be there are lives in the US that by being in the US, you will come across those lives and the universe wants you to affect them positively. There are things that you're going to do, exploits. There are things that you would do to contribute positively to that environment. So there's a way that your pathway is designed. But there is also a bulk of people that you have no business. They're very selfish black people who have a bit of green color in their bank balance. You know, they've got a bit of money saved. They've got a couple of properties bought. They're snobs. So they're the ones, what's this Ifa thing you're talking about? And then their surnames are Ogundipe. They're very selfish because you may have been lucky or you've been blessed, you earned whatever you worked for, good for you. But that's not the reality of plenty of other black folks. Plenty, man. Yeah. Do you know how many people go to Nigeria or Ghana or Cameroon on vacation? When you go for the 2 weeks, do you know how many people that go home and the little money that they managed to save to spend back home and a few clothing shopping, they really had to work like overtime shifts. They really had to have saved for months in advance. That money is only for that 2 weeks window during Christmas, during Easter, Ramadan break. Boom, 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 jump on the plane to go back. Cash a little too. If they, some people, but the moment they start to slip into the third week, their financial sufferings will get exposed, or their financial inabilities will just get exposed. Do you know how many people that go home and they have to feign, they have to project a false image about themselves. They have to feign comfortability, and they're not exactly comfortable. You go home and you talk all the wanna gonna. Sometimes you have to put your flight ticket on a credit card. That's right. You go home because of the Forex exchange rate, you're able to say, hey, take 20,000 naira. Hey, this is the t-shirt I brought from the UK. Oh, take that little 30 ml perfume. Oh, take this pair of sandals that I've bought from Primark in London. Oh, take this and this, but dip down inside this. The people back home on ground, most of them are looking at you, oh, you've come from the UK, but deep down inside, you know that you ain't shit. Plenty of people do that. Fact. I'm telling you, people stay in your land. Why? Because only you who love it can build it and defend it. Thank you, Lilia. Question, Franklin. Why do you think African traditional spirituality is not receiving such smooth discourse as yours? Who's that? Fazeda, thank you, and thank you for the super chat. Well, the give me a second. Let me read that again. The perception around African spirituality is it's intentional. It's a damage that's deeply rooted. It's happened for donkey years. I talked about this in the previous live stream where they've inflicted the minds, they destroyed the minds for generations of our of our of our people. And let me see. Give me a second. Is Franklin using his platform to recruit potential IFA lists? What's IFA list? That being said, I reckon with strong will, I believe is somehow one will overcome. I've resent DBA. I'll respond to you, man. So, like I was saying, they took African spirituality, right? Predates the invaders' religion, Christianity, Islam, and all that. That's fact. That's not even debatable. You understand? So it's like these has always existed, right? And then they brought this. I'm just using this as an example. These was ours. These. Then they brought this. Then they made up lies to tell you that these is poisonous. These is demonic. These is not good. But you, back then, before these came, when you drank this, you were powerful. You were fully activated. You lived your best lives. These belonged to you. These connected you to the universe. They came. They killed this off. Then they sold you this and said, this will save you now. In fact, you are a demonic person. There's an imaginary hellfire, and there's also an imaginary heaven. In order for you to not go into that hellfire, make your way to that heaven, you must be reliant on this. They beat this into your ancestors. They forced it down your lungs. They killed your children. They sexually violated your men, your women, your wives, your mothers. You need this. You must always rely on this. They turned your men upside down. They hung them from trees. They tied wires to their genitals and ripped it off their bodies for refusing to accept this. The conditioning went deep into the souls of your ancestors, and generation after generation after generation, people became automated. And these soon became your reality. So if you are seen in public with these people that look like you, this guy is holding this. Run away from him. Why? Because our master says this guy holding this is regarded as demonic. But you know what's even interesting about the lies? The same people that have accepted this would go behind closed doors to enjoy this. But because of societal conditioning, they will enjoy this behind closed doors. In fact, a lot of them couldn't go through each day without this, but they hide it from view. So for public acceptance and society, in alignment with societal conditioning, everybody brands themselves with this. So when you come out as a nonconformist and say, to hell with this, I'm aligning with this, the bunch of retards, narcissistic ones, will come after you for embracing this publicly. Remember, this predates this. What is this? Religion. It's as simple as that. Bamidele, thank you for the super chat. My challenge with the concept of destiny is that it is assumed everyone has been destined to do well. What about a child that is born with an ailment, a heart defect, and dies before the age of 1? I don't know what to say to that, man. You understand me? So a bunch of black folks. Thank you, Kazim. Thank you, Isla. It's the fundamental problem. The reason I gave that example is that's why I keep telling you I live in my truth. So when you get knowledge, you understand this belongs to us. Life started in Africa. This predates that. And then some invaders came and said, no, no. They gave these all sorts of name. So if you're seeing with this, you're labeled as being demonic, a horrible person. It's in fact and in fact, the invaders that gave you this, you know what's interesting? They know the A to Z of this. They enjoy and benefit from this behind closed doors. But they maintain the public narrative that, this is nonsense. This is a myth. Oh, this is fetish. Oh, this is demonic. They have all the nasty adjectives for it. It's part of the mental conditioning so that you can keep latching onto this and you can remain porous and particularly spiritually naked and suppressed. Religion, Latin, religere, means to bind. Religio, obligation, bond, reverence. Yes, they call our spirituality mumbo jumbo. Oh, nonsense. Oh, some chants. It's intentional. Everything African, everything black is seen as toxic. It's seen as bad. It's demonic. It's terrible. You shouldn't align with it. Hello, question, Phrankleen. How do we get our people to accept traditional ways and close door on Eurocentric ways? Deja, look, the thing about me, like somebody was saying earlier, is Phrankleen trying to recruit? It's my truth. It's again, in fact, let me tell you something. When it comes to African spirituality, the number one enemy are people that look like me, black folks, because they are self-appointed gatekeepers. They become narcissistic and aggressive because they don't want to hear you talk. It's my truth. So, like they use words, are you trying to recruit people? Do you know that if my channel or this topic was a religious topic, if I was sat here discussing the Bible, for example, and I was singing, I had music in the background, I was chanting, I was speaking in tongues, they wouldn't use the word Phrankleen is trying to recruit Christians. But because of the internalized self-hatred and disdain, they would say, you're trying to recruit. If somebody embraces or they get illuminated or emancipated because I'm talking about African spirituality, I think is amazing. But this is not trying to force anyone or get a bunch of recruits. Nah. But will I stop talking about it? Never. This is my platform. This is my truth. You can go to somebody else's platform. They are into Buddhism. They practice. There are platforms on YouTube where there's a guy that I watched the other day. He's an atheist. He's an atheist, and he's got nearly 2 million subscribers. And you know what? They are having fun on that channel. He has a lot of members. In fact, when he's live streaming like this, if you're not a member of his YouTube channel, you can't comment because only members can comment. He's an atheist. He's a white dude. I listened to him for about 20 minutes. He has a great sense of humor. He practices atheism. What would you say about that? He has nearly 3 million subscribers. He's in the States. It's always black folks. African spirituality doesn't need recruiting anyone. Thank you. We just need We just tell you the truth. We say it as it is. Each time I have a conversation with a Christian, he or she always tries to recruit me. Thank you. You see some people, they'll come to my page. Oh, you're going to bow, Phrankleen. You're still going to bow. You're coming back to Jesus. You don't have a choice. Jesus will trap you. Just look at the choice of words. Jesus will trap me. You're coming back to bow down to the Lord of hosts. If you don't bow down, you will suffer. Wow. It's amazing, isn't it? Absolutely fascinating. I laugh. You must bow. Uma teriba fun Jesu ni. African Christians are the most aggressive guys that wouldn't choose to tune to different channel if the one they're watching isn't interesting to them. Thank you, Osita. There's this guy early this morning when I woke up. I was trying to go empty my bladder in the toilet, right? And I looked at my phone, and dude was like, "You will bow. You will bow. You will kiss the feet of Jesus by fire, by thunder." I just blocked the idiot from my channel. I actually laughed this morning. I was trying to get my glasses. Like, that long bow. What? Kilo. Oh, Monaco. Woman 40 ballet, woman issue. Yes, I'm a issue, me. I'm a son of issue. Issue la lu gidioko. If only you know what issue represents, man. And that's the thing. Issue, right? Issue is absolutely powerful. Issue, the one that will give you judgment and make way for you and hope open doors and break chains. The invaders, they hijacked that and they maliciously, they vindictively labeled it as something toxic to destroy the minds of our people. So when you were growing up, as a friend, omo ishunye, omo bruku, it's a lie. Ajama teriba fun Jesu. She's not the devil. They would take words like, oh yeah, African spirituality is fetish. Yeah, they incapacitated us and subdued us mentally, absolutely destroy the minds of our folks. I left Christianity 10 years ago, and my life has been free. I can think critically. I'm more successful and more honest to myself. My man, oh, the peace I experience now, I can't explain. That's it. Issue opens the roads. La lua girioku. If somebody says, I'm trying to recruit, you know what? Just by talking to you about African spirituality, the universe will bless me. The universe will align with me. Trust me. Just by. Religion was created for division. In Benin, issue means devil. Or is it a different issue? No, it is different, man. Issue laro ye. Georgia. So, you know, the point I'm making in closure, plenty leave the shores of Africa. Plenty. Look at what's so if you look at the root cause of the problem, the justification, that what really creates justification is the uncomfortability that people are inflicted with back home and all that. I get it. A lot of people, do you know, it's the minds of our people are so destroyed that somebody can be in Nigeria. They've built their home. They have a thriving business. They're making good money. And none of that is good. They will destroy everything. They will tear everything down to say they want to go abroad. The funny thing is, most of the diasporans abroad, they want what you have in the motherland. Fact. I say it out of, not out of any disrespect towards my brothers and sisters watching. There are plenty of diasporans that just want to own a plot of land back home, that they don't have a plot. Talk less of building It's not because they are less of humans. They don't have that ability monetarily. I'm telling you, man. I bumped into a guy the other day. Dude was like, bro, if I can build a bungalow in Nigeria, just a 3-bedroom bungalow, I have the key to the house. He said, dude, I'm out of the West. So I said, start building then. He goes, Frank, it's not easy, man. Apparently his wife, had an operation, so means he can't go back to work because of the complications around the operations. They got two or three children, I think, and they're living off his own, wages and bills, outgoing, food shopping. He can barely save, man. Dude works really hard. He said his wife is on the same page. They want to get out, but there's no money. That's the reality of so many. And the funny thing about the cycle of life is when you're in your 20s, in your 30s, you're pushing, 40s, you're pushing, ada, you're gonna click, you're gonna click, you're gonna click, you're gonna click. There is a point that people get to, and you just lean back, you just give up. That's why they say, Ori mi ma jẹ́ kí n kú sórí mo ṣe. Ẹlẹ́dàá mi ma jẹ́ kí n kú sórí mo jìyà, ma jẹ́ kí n kú sórí mo lélélé. You just keep running. It would feel like I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. I'll get there. This is going to click for me. You just chasing and chasing and chasing. And then before you know, your youth is gone. Usually when people hit their late 40s, their 50s now, the speed just drops. And they just waiting to retire. There are people there are people in this West that they are very close to 60. Retirement is still like 65 or something. They're just hoping to still be alive and just so they can start getting paid by the government. Fact. There was a woman, one of the stories that touched me with the divination thing that said, Frankly, when I was coming to the UK, said I was very young. I was a young lady. Said I met my husband, back home. She was just 22. She said I knew nothing. Said my parents just pushed me. He said he loves me and blah blah blah. They met through a church, like the village area in the eastern part of Nigeria. So the guy brought her to the UK. But by the time she turned 23, she was already pregnant, had a first child. All she did in the system was just raise kids. Zero fulfillment. Nada. Just being at home, trying to get part-time job here, blah, blah, blah. Just, Some of these women, some of you are even older women, you're watching me. Some of them, what? Some of them were trapped in just toxic relationship for years. Toxic. Domestic abuse, all sorts. Out of shame, out of religious conditioning. You keep quiet, you keep your head down, you accept, you stay there. And the truth is, for a lot of these women, mostly women, once there is 2-3 children, there's a giant question hanging on your head in caps lock over your head. Where do I start from? Fact. If there are women that would jump out with 3 children, the percentage is very low. Oh, that takes a lot of gut and mental tenacity to be able to pull that through, man. 1 child, easy to elope. 2 maybe. 3 children or more? Nah. She's getting old with that, man. Zero fulfillment. There's no connection. Yeah, you're like, forget it. Just somebody emailed me. She's 55, husband is 57. She said, Franklin, I don't know where the time went. She said, but I don't know, man. She said, well, he brought me to the UK. I have 4 children. He said, but you know what, man? I can't point. I cannot point to one single fulfillment. He said, "Mi mobita kukulo." This is just the reality. So your deal, do you understand me? Come home to yourself, man. That's why also, on a final note, that's how we keep the cycle of poverty going. How? When you have a bunch of people, it doesn't matter the African boundaries that we have, the nationality boundaries. Oh, you're from Tanzania, you're from Cameroon, blah, 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 blah. Do you understand me? You know? You come to the West and you live years and years and years. Some are in the shadow of the system, immigration complexities and all that stuff. Yeah, time runs out very fast and time is very, very short. That's right. You're trapped in that system, and and you have a bunch of children. Justina Rogers, thank you, Justina. How do you how do we give help shape the future for our offsprings when you yourself are still trying to stay afloat? You're struggling. You don't you It's scary when you look at it, right? People have sent me requests for divinations, and I'm 44-year-old. Can you help me find out what exactly I was called to do in this universe? That means you have existed for 44 bloody years, just aimlessly roaming this planet. Let that marinate for a moment. Do you understand? When you're having conversation with people, like in social gatherings amongst ourselves, people put up a facade. People do that a lot. They put up a facade, a smoke screen. SA, thank you for the super chat. They put up a smoke screen. Everybody gets in the defensive mode, especially, because you don't want to lose face. You don't want people to look at you like you're struggling. I get it. You're worried about your image, perception of you. Nobody likes to be seen like they're at the bottom end of the spectrum. Nobody wants people to know their business. I get it. But deep down inside, you know the truth. Hmm. When the start of most people's lives is utterly defective, and there is more and more, man. Frankly, I couldn't agree with you more, both in spirituality and every point that you want. I'm telling you, man. Akbogon la bro, ayakpa. There's plenty. Everyone is just, my woman always says, get on with it. She would always say, just get on with it, right? People are just getting on with each day. You just get on with it. They're just getting on with it, right? Just you let tomorrow morning, go to that work, graveyard shifts. It's like a tumble dryer, rat race. Plenty lives with zero, no direction. And the life abroad, particularly on a final note, it's so can be a vicious cycle that the moment you get absorbed into the system, for the brothers and sisters that live abroad and you're genuinely struggling because so you're trapped into the system of just funding the bills and monthly outgoings. There isn't much because of shame. So many of you, your Ori, your inner man, your energy is telling you that go back home, but because of shame. And also, because you're financially crippled, you can't go anywhere. So like we're saying, you're about, I can't back our money, just, stay here. What are you going to do then? Those of you that are religious people, instead of you coming here, I hope you would just take a step back and realize and just look at the bigger picture. Think on behalf of the Black community. It's just selfish of you to come here and think you can draw battle lines with Phrankleen. It's not going to change my submissions. It's not going to stop anything. If you project foolishness, you're just going to get the sledgehammer, otherwise known as the block button on your head, and then you're gone. But it would be nice to have nice, positive contributions that we can all learn from, rather than you coming here and mudslinging and trying to insult me. Insult me based on what? Sending me emails, Jesus Christ would trap your mind. You will bow in the end. You must kneel before Jesus. What's wrong with you, man? Why are you doing this to yourself, Black people? I'm very angry because so many Black folks are blind. I wish I had the supernatural power to bang on a reset button and reprogram the minds of so many people. The things you're latching onto, Stockholm syndrome, just constantly falling in love and defending your oppressors. It's scary, man. It's scary. I had to tell my own parents, this is my way of life. So recently, my father, let me say this in closure, sent me a WhatsApp message and said, Happy Easter. On Good Friday, he sent a message. I read it. I didn't respond. And then I think towards the week, as the weekend went by on Sunday, he said, Happy Easter. So I read it. I didn't respond. And he got a little triggered, I'm not going to greet you Happy Easter. It means nothing to me. Why should I greet you Happy Easter? It's totally irrelevant. I'm not Christian. It's got nothing to do with me. Go and read the background to the so-called, Easter celebration. So I'm not going to. But people like to, have you, how do I say? They like to have you conditioned because they expect you to be a conformist. How dare you not? But eventually they will get there. They'll understand. That's why I proudly say I'm a proudly and openly say I'm a proud practitioner of Ifa. Some people will come on my page on Instagram. The moment you post about African spirituality, they quickly unfollow you. Like, Shaya and Shayini. What's wrong with you, man? That's the door. Use it. Get lost. You think I live my life to please you? This is my truth. If you like, you can do acrobatics and do whatever, man. It's irrelevant to me. I mean, Black folks do the most, man. Somebody saw me on the road the other day. Arumila. You would think he was trying to be funny, right? He was with a bunch of folks and they were, they were trying to be cheesy, right? Oh, Arumila. He was shouting from the other side of the road. So I looked at him and I smiled. You twat. You know, he was trying to, he was trying to mock me. He thinks that's mockery. So I just looked at him and smiled, and I just kept him moving. Orumila. Abio. Do I look anything like Orumila? But yeah, I just hope that from wherever your life is, wherever you are, if you're going to give spirituality um, a shot, I think wherever you are in your life, you can take it from there, and hopefully the universe will be able to recalibrate you. That's the word I'm looking for. Help you recalibrate, and you know, my wife would always say, "There's no point for." No, calling me a rumila. Yeah, you can say that. You can say that it's a compliment. No, but you know when people are trying to, you know when people, you know, like Yoruba people, Nigerians. Okay, so let me tell you exactly. When somebody's saying orumila and they're doing that to you, you know, so that's not a compliment. Do you understand what I'm saying? Somebody who has a pure mind can say, "Hey, Phrankleen, orumila, my man, come on, bro." I would laugh and I would embrace you. But when somebody's saying orumila and they're doing that to you, onyimusie, that's not a compliment. You know, you get that, right? So yeah, hopefully folks are able to recalibrate. And one more thing before I forget. For those of you that are willing to, you love African spirituality, but I know, oh, because of my daddy, oh, because of my mom, oh, what would people say? Let me tell you, man, don't live your life to please people. I beg you, live and embrace your truth. Look, openly embracing Ifa or maybe other forms of African spirituality, you're not doing so to please your mom or your dad or your wife or your husband. It would be great if your wife or your husband is on the same page as you. It'll be amazing. But embrace your truth. You know, it's part of the societal conditioning. What would people say? That's why in our society, people are very hypocritical. They are liars. They would rather practice this behind closed doors, and then they will come and give credit to the religion of the invaders openly. Does that make sense? Me, I mean, you can see on my social media accounts, I'm a proud practitioner of Ifa. I'm an Ifa initiate. I'm learning, I'm educating myself. It's a way of life. If I divine on a situation that's personal to me and my family tomorrow morning, if I need to do appeasement, etutu, monlo rubonia, if I want to venerate the energy of issue Ogun tomorrow morning, I'm going ahead. I'm living my life. If I have to venerate something to protect my children, I'm going ahead. Right by me on this journey is my wife. How my mother or my father feels in the grand scheme of things, totally irrelevant. I don't give a rat's backside. I'm living my life. It's my life. This is my Ori. This Ori is different from my father's Ori. My predestination has nothing to do with my mother. In fact, my sons My children's predestination have nothing to do with me. I may come out in the process of divination or whatever, because I'm their parent and all that stuff. But in the grand scheme of things, what they have been called to do in this dispensation has nothing to do with me. Do you get it? Very soon, they will fly out of the nest. They will go fully as adults into the universe. So the point I'm making is, why are you worried about opinions, feeling? What will they say? Well, how will they feel? Oh, you get that all the time, but you will get used to it. You have to train your mind. Would you me? You're not anybody. Do you know how many people I've met? And bro, so yeah, like for real. Yeah, for real. Hey, Franklin, what's the email to send a message? Look in the description of the video, Pauline. You find my email address. foodchannel1960@gmail.com. They see me in a barbershop, on the road, on the train. Bro, like, so what's up? If some people were curious. We have a chat. Some people, they pretend like they are trying to have a conversation, and they would try to sell you their religiosity and all that. And I just laugh and walk away. I have peace, man. So, walk in your truth. Everybody in my house are born again Christian. Walk in your truth. When you start to divine, when you start to get fully aligned, the universe will guide you. You would even know, some of you, for you to prosper, you might even have to keep your mother at arm's length. Some of you, oh, mom, I've just bought a land. I'm planning to build. Your mother might belong in the clouds, if you know exactly what I mean. Your father might belong in some dodgy fraternity whereby he's using your energy to flourish as a financial springboard. He's the one ensuring that your life does not enjoy fruition. But how would you know this if you are not spiritually aligned with your Ori? And there are things that you're going to uncover. You will just learn to absorb them. Fortify yourself. You don't have to go, oh, Dad, so you are the one trying to finish me. No. Agbègbèsè, wàá ṣètùtù, wàá múná fún wọn, and then you lean back and watch. There's some of you, Mom, me and my wife are planning to build a house, trying to buy this plot of land. Your mom is like, oh, that's very good. The moment you disseminate the plan, they do something evil to block. That's when Ajalumadi, there'll be a problem that will siphon your funds. The next 2 years, 3 years, you're still struggling. You will never build that house. You will never. They will ensure that you die in poverty. Your children do the same. There's so many people, the things that are locking you down, you just need to recalibrate your life. Sometimes it doesn't even need anything elaborate. The moment you know the source of your problem, how to deal with it. Sometimes there are certain people that have these intentions. Ifa uncovers it. You know what to do. Some people's truth can be Christianity. Then go to Christian's life. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, thank you very much. That's me done. If you want to send me an email, foodchannel1960@gmail.com. Look in the description of the video. You find my email address. Alrighty. Follow me on Instagram, Phrankleen, spelled exactly the same as my YouTube channel. Interested in divination, bang me an email. Please send me your stories, man. Send me your stories, please. For those of you that, like I said, I'm waiting for divination outcomes this week. Batches, everyone's going to get their excellent. Oh, you will. Please bear with. I was bombarded. I didn't expect that bombardment, okay? But it's amazing. You will get your response from me. So, yeah. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. And enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll catch you in the very next